This is In the Shadows podcast. Lots of cigar talk, but if it's going on in the world, we'll be talking about that too. And by the way, the fellas don't shy away from controversial topics. Trust me. So grab that stick, kick back with your favorite drink, and let's do the thing. This is the In the Shadows podcast. Now your hosts, Tony the Soy Sauce Assassin, along with Albert, Martine, and Eric.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Shadow Spokes Legion in the Shadow podcast. I'm your host, Tony the Soy Sauce Assassin. Today we have Eric, we have Martine, and we have the Cigar Collective, Peter, who has an Instagram, shows a lot of different cigar he smokes. So make sure to go check that out after you hear this this podcast. You know, just make sure you don't do it during the podcast. Go to him after the podcast. If you feel like it, check him out. So since we have him today, let's go through a little bit introduction for him. Peter, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
What's going on, everybody? I am Peter of the Cigar Collective on Instagram. I have been into cigars for, I'd say about 20 years now, but more seriously in the past 3-ish years. So that's when the collective has started, and that's when the collection has started.
Damn. Well, 3 years is a long time to collect. I mean, even for someone that probably just started 3 years ago, probably have a small collection, right? Oh, so today's topic, let's talk about collecting cigars, right? Because everybody eventually get to that point where you start seeing yourself to have what's a quote-unquote collection, right? And collection could be 10 cigar, collection could be 20 cigar, collection could be 1,000 cigars, right? When you have a sorted version of what you usually like, that became a collection, right? So, you know, for, I guess, people like me or like Eric, our collection are very all over the place. Like our collection is basically whatever we have left over, right? We don't, majority of our cigar is not like we go collect for the sake of collection. Our collection is mostly leftover cigars that we didn't end up smoking because we tend to buy the entire box for the box or whatnot, and then we have leftover stuff. And that became our collection. And our collection is mostly for sharing rather than us smoking it because we tend to smoke a different cigar every day. Yeah. Now, for Peter, when you collect your cigars, right? Let's talk about this. Like, what has changed for you when you say you did it for 20 years and then your first 10 years of what you have collected and to your previous 3 years what you collected? What are the difference?
Yeah, so I guess it all depends on where you are in your cigar journey, right? So in the beginning, when I was smoking cigars, it was no more than just grabbing a few sticks when I was going to meet with some buddies, and knowing that we're going to have a cigar that night, I wanted to have a few things with me. So, you know, the first 15 years of smoking cigars was, oh, we're going to go play golf, let's grab some cigars. Oh, we're going to have a bonfire or a barbecue, let's grab some cigars. So nothing back then was more than, you know, a small desktop humidor filled with cigars that I would smoke on occasion. Just go into a B&M, never anything online, pick up whatever I wanted for the day or what I was going to, you know, smoke in a month. It was only a few sticks. And that's how it was for a really long time. So more recently, like you've been mentioning now that I've been doing the Instagram account, the Cigar Collective, quote unquote, right, collection of cigars, that transition happened more so when I'm at a different stage. I kind of know what I like now. I've been smoking for a while, been smoking more frequently. So you tend to know what you want to have on you to smoke at all times instead of just trying stuff randomly throughout your cigar journey. So now that I've been doing this for a while, I know what kinds of blenders I like, what kinds of brands I like. So you try to pick up what you can whenever they're releasing stuff. And now that I'm in the sharing journey where I've meet a bunch of content creators, and everyone's, you know, sharing sticks that they enjoy and trying to one up each other. And It's a whole different breed now. It's an expensive hobby now, but it's definitely a lot more fun, and I enjoy this part of the hobby way more than the beginning part.
Cool. Yeah, I totally can get what you mean, right? Because like once you start sharing, the fact that someone else is smoking the cigar that you have provided to them is a totally different feeling than when you buy it for yourself, right? So now that collection not only is for you, but now you have to allocate a specific amount. Like, when somebody talk about the cigar, I'm gonna have these for sharing. And yeah, in a way is a higher expense, but it's a totally different feeling when they do the flavor back and then send you another batch of cigar. Even if you didn't like all of them, it's a totally different feeling. It's like, okay, I add these two on my list to smoke. I want to smoke these. It would be very cool when you receive cigars that you don't normally buy, right? And then that could lead you to a different like collections and stuff like that, right? So what is the first box of cigar that you bought that added to your collection? Like, what is the first step when you say, you know what, I'm going to start a collection, I'm going to start adding cigars I like? What is the first box that you bought?
Yeah, I remember the first box I bought, and it was probably right before I started the collective, so about 3 years ago, and I walked into a B&M, and I was just like, you know what, instead of just buying like 3-4 cigars and keeping them and handing them out, I was like, I'm going to get a little bit bigger of a humidor, and I'm going to start keeping a couple cigars, couple boxes. So the first box I ever bought was a box of Oliva Melanio V's Maduros, because it's a good cigar. It always has a consistent flavor, and you know what you're getting. So I enjoy those. I know a few of my friends enjoy them. So I was like, might as well just get a box and have them at the house and not have to run to the B&M every time, and just have them on hand. So that was the first box that sent me down the rabbit hole.
Cool. I mean, that's a safe bet, right? Now, when you think of Oliva V, Melanio, that's a safe bet. Like, I think anybody who starts their cigar collection should have one of those safe cigars to smoke, right? Because usually that's what a collection have, right? It's just basically some safe ones, some rare ones, some of them that you really like, and small amount that you tried it, but you just happen to have a few sticks left. Right, that will be a collection, right? So Martin, like when you had a collection, right? What was the collection like?
All right, so for me, my collection started probably about 3 years ago, and sadly, after my divorce, my cigar collection just kind of depleted. So. Don't get a divorce, but if you want to start a cigar collection, what I normally had in my cigar stash was like just the good stuff that I like, Olivas, Espinosas, and just every once in a while I had like a Padron or something like high dollar. But for me, that's just, I wanted like stuff that I could go to every single day that I knew I liked. I would go to humidors and pick up a lot of stuff that I had smoked and I reviewed, and after reviewing it, I enjoyed it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get me some more of these and just have them as like go-to stuff.
Okay. How about Eric? When you started collecting, I don't know when you started collecting, but when you started collecting, how does that look like? Like, what was your first, route to the rabbit hole per se that you bought? You go, okay, start from this point on, we just got to go buy crazy cigars. Crazy amount of cigars.
Crazy amount of cigars. I was tired of running to the B&M, tell the truth. I was, it's like every day before I get out of work, I was like, or before work, I run to a local B&M. And then I was like, I'm going to grab a few sticks here and there, right? And then my first box was the Onyx, whatever, black or something like that. But yeah, it was, to me back then, it was a perfect cigar. It was good. It was salty. Now it's just blah, it's whatever. But I didn't get serious collecting until like 5 years in. Like, I do gradually like collect stuff, like collect the rarest stick and stuff like that, go hunting for it. But I didn't get serious until 5 years in, and I just start going nuts where I'm buying every rare thing out there. And plus, like you say, I love sharing. So when like people, just friends and stuff and like hit me up and like, hey, have you smoked this? Have you tried this? Have you? I was like, no, I would love to try that. And then I was like, hey, do you want to trade? I'm going to send them a big ass bomb as I can. And then like I had, to me, it's not even about the price of the cigar or anything like that. It's literally just sharing my my collection, and that's how I look at it. And when I receive, I don't look forward to receiving cigars, but when I do, boy, don't I get excited. But yeah, that's how I look at it, and that's how the collections are. Just because me being lazy before work or after work, running to a local B&M.
Okay. So on my side, I didn't even know I had a collection until people say I have a collection, because I'm an impulse buyer. I just buy whatever I see. If I walk around and see something, I buy it. Like I have so much junk in the house. I look like a hoarder in my house. Everything I see, I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I want to buy it. That looks pretty cool. I want to buy it. Oh, look at like that. Oh, my friend bought one. I want to buy one too.
No wonder why when you go to my house, you're like, house is empty.
Yeah. I bought so many things just by looking at them. And I, if it looks good, I'm buying it. And then we'll figure out later.
You are a hoarder.
Yeah, I'm a hoarder. So, and over time, it just starts to pile up. Every time you go out with a friend, and the friend says, oh, I need to go to the cigar shop. Okay, let's go. And you go to the cigar shop and they bought something. So, oh, yeah, that's cool. I'll buy something too. And next thing you know, you just keep having boxes and boxes and boxes. And especially during the time where we're watching TNT Cigars, those, live shows and stuff. Was that Sunday or Saturday? I can't remember Saturday or Sunday. They will be talking about what they are promoting, the cigar and stuff like that. And regardless whether or not I have it, after they're done, I'm like, I'm going to order that. I'm going to order that. As a support, as I'm going to order a pack of that. I'm going to order this and that. And when Cigars Daily became one thing, everything that he says, I'm going to go buy one. I'm just going to buy one, right? And I visit Cigars Daily. I'm like, oh, I'm going to support you. What should I buy? And he was just telling me a bunch of things. I was like, I'll buy all those.
Like, I take your whole humidor, please. Thank you.
And then before you know it, you just have a whole house of cigar, and then another house of cigar, and then another house of cigar. You just have houses and houses of cigars. And then you go...
No. You don't just have houses and houses of cigars, man.
Well, if you buy them faster than you can smoke them, you will know what I mean.
Oh,
like a lot of time, Asians will buy things just in case you had to give something.
Yes, we do that. Yes.
All right, because like there's always a event, occasion, holiday that you had to go visit somebody and you had to bring them a gift. So a lot of time we'll just buy a bunch of those things and then to give. And what's the number one thing you give to Asian? Tobacco, right? It's a tube of cigarette or expensive cigars or something that they can't buy at the local shop. You get a lot of those, right? So what is the high price stuff you can buy? You buy a bunch of Cuban, and you buy a bunch of drinks, alcohols, wines, that kind of stuff. And you start to pile it up. And before I know it, I have, 2 cabinets worth of whiskeys, and then and cigars just everywhere. Because I buy them. Originally, the reason to buy them was to give them away. So I would shove them everywhere. I would shove it under the sofa, I would shove it under the carpet, the bathroom, everything. I just find a place to put it. I say, oh, next time when I think about it, I'll just get it out and give it to people. But as the cigar journey progressed on and doing Shadow Smoke Legion, I smoke more and more and more. And that's became like, you know what? Next time I'll just buy something else. I'll smoke this one right here. I'm in the bathroom on my toilet. I was like, I need to smoke something. I'm too lazy to go to my basement right now. It's cold. And I just pull out my bathroom drawer, and there's some Dumbartons or Davidoff. I'll just take it out and smoke. I was like, I'll smoke these right now. And then, if I need to get something, I'll just get something later. And before you know it, I have loose cigars everywhere in the house. I do have boxes, but like, some of the boxes, unless I open it, I don't know how much cigars in there because I just use them as I go. I have a family member that come to my place, and sometimes they were like, I heard you have a lot of cigar. Where again, depends where we're talking about this. I would just go to the nearest part and grab a cigar, right? So my laundry has some cigars, And here's the thing, all right? For those people who keep a cigar in the laundry room, it will smell like detergent. Don't put it in the laundry room. It's actually bad.
Tony,
but the one in the bathroom doesn't smell like shit. So that's an amazing part. Just the laundry room smell like laundry room.
I don't want to receive cigar from you no more.
So yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, the collection was unwillingly established. Unlike I never had that one point says I'm gonna start collecting cigar. It's more like I have so much of it now, it feels like a collection. But if you ask me what I have, I don't know. Like I don't know what I have. So with that being said, Peter, do you have a list of something that gets you to like remember what cigar you have, how many sticks you have, that kind of stuff? Because a lot of people with the collection actually have those, they keep a tab of what they have.
Yeah, in the beginning, I used to do that. And then once the collection grows rapidly and you forget to log a few things and then you fall behind on writing, what do I want? What am I buying? What edition boxes do I have? What year is stuff from? Like now, forget it, dude. I fell so far behind on that list, it's not even worth trying to catch up. So I'm in my humidors all the time. So I have a good idea of what I have on hand. So it's easy when you're rotating your stock frequently, you're in your humidors, you're constantly opening things and moving things around. So off the top of my head, I could probably figure out what I have, but as far as a hard list, yeah, it worked for a little bit when there was like 2 humidors, but now there's like too many humidors and it does not work anymore.
Yeah. How about Martin? Like, when you had a collection, do you have like a method to the madness?
No, just stuff it up. Just fill it up completely.
So you don't know what you have once you fill out the humidor.
No, I would buy stuff, and then if it looked good, it's kind of like this. Like when you go to the grocery store and you're hungry, you just pick shit up. So it's like for me, when I go into a cigar shop, it's like, what do I want? Oh, that looks good. That looks good too. Oh, $5, I'll get a couple of those, and then here and there, and then that gets stuffed at the bottom because my good stuff that I normally smoke is on top. So the other stuff just kind of falls down to the bottom. So there was really no sense of organization or anything. I mean, I would keep like Lanceros on like a specific area, my Padrones and my the LFD Andalusian Bulls, like my high dollar smoke celebration type of cigars, but everything else just 15 and under just kind of went all together.
Okay. How about you, Eric? How do you sort your real madness?
I don't. Well, I kind of do, but I don't at the same time. I have trouble looking for things that I want. You already know this, Tony. You already know the experience. When we try to look for something, we can't find it, but it's there somewhere. But I'm the opposite. I put my good stuff, usually my good stuff, on the bottom. And my other stuff that I just daily smoke or whatever that I just want to get rid of or smoke, it's on top. Because the bottom one, I usually give away. I sorted out what cigar that I'm about to give away. And I like to give people stuff that people don't experience a lot or see a lot and stuff like that. And I keep those on the down low so I don't smoke them just in case, like, hey, 6 months planned, you know what I'm saying? But yeah,
I think that became 9 months planned now.
I think so too, man. Shit. But yeah, so that's how I would sort. I used to like just sort it by brands, but then once you get so much and you start scuffing around, and then yeah, it just went to crap. To tell the truth.
Yeah, I tend to keep the stuff that I smoke often or recently outside, not in a humidor. Like on my computer, on the side of my table. If you guys see me on the stream, you'll see like boxes outside, especially these 2 Camachos behind my desk. It's always gonna sit there because that's what I smoke. And you guys don't see my computer, but on top of my computer is flat and with a fan on the bottom. So I just put it on there. It's always good temperature. It's always good. So I just keep those. And so when I give away cigar, when I send a cigar, it's usually what I can see. If it's in front of me somewhere, I can grab one and send it out. Like for Peter, I got I had to literally go and find them because again, it's like 9 months plan. So I already have 2 containers of cigars in a side, but I literally just put it right next to me because I know I'll forget, so I just have it right next to me. And then, eventually I'll get to that 9 months plan, because the problem with with collecting cigar is that once you have a collection, once you know what you want to give to people, that people see to what you smoke and they go buy the same thing. And then you got to take it out of your collection. You're like, okay, he have that. Okay, put it away. He have that. And whenever I feel like I'm almost ready, I see Peter post a picture.
Right,
of this
I'm like, yo, fuck Peter, man. The hell?
Yeah, we gotta take it out now. Another 3 months there. Wait for the cigar release and stuff like that. And that's the one thing I want to talk about, right? So, Peter, your collection of cigars has dramatically changed, right? You have, if you look at his Instagram, he tends to have crown heads. He tends to have like DTT for the last year.
Definitely
but
TT.
He's been buying all kind of different cigars recently, and there's got to be something that triggers it, right? So, Peter, what triggered you to want to try those cigars? To say, I want to buy a box of these, a 5-pack of those, aside from trying them, because obviously you didn't buy them just to try them. If you want to try them, you buy like a 1 or 2 stick to try them, right? You buy them because you're like, okay, I'm going to keep some of these. Yeah. So what got you to do that?
Yeah, it's mostly peer pressure from all your friends. Because if I had my choice of smoking, my top brands are, Dunbarton, Crown Heads, and Plasencia. And I would just smoke within my 3 favorite groups because I know, 80% of their stuff is something I'm going to enjoy. And then you start making friends and you're like, well, I want to send them cigars and I just can't send them cigars from 3 different brands. Like, I got to mix it up. So then you just start looking outside of your comfort zone and you're like, okay, well, I got to try more cigars and I'm going to share them. So I might as well buy a box of those cigars because I'm going to want to smoke some. And then I'm going to want to share some with Eric and Tony and Martine. And then, Roger shows up and he's like, oh, I haven't had that one yet. And then Felipe's like, how was that cigar? Oh, it's good. Let me send you one. And before you know it, you buy a box, you smoked one out of it and you gave away the other, 11, 12, whatever's in the box. And you don't even have a box anymore. So... that's really what spurred it along. Is now you're watching, you become friends with these guys who review, and the problem with friends that review is they're constantly smoking new stuff. So it's like, all right, well, I got to kind of keep up with that, which forces me to try new things. And then if I'm lucky, I'll acquire some stuff that they haven't acquired, and then the trading aspect happens, and then you're sending bombs to people and they return fire. So that quickly gets out of hand when you're buying boxes and looking for boxes to buy, because you don't necessarily want to one-up them, but you kind of do at the same time.
We do. What are you talking about? We do. We do unconsciously.
So the moral of the story is do not have reviewer friends.
Yeah, that's that was a long-winded way of saying smoke alone. Yes, smoke alone.
Oh man.
I don't know. I never tried to say one up, but the thing is that, like, you constantly feel like, oh, I got this. Well, what's another one? What's another one to buy, and then just send it to a friend, right? What's another one, right? So it didn't feel like that way. But with that being said, Peter, now that you kind of had to get out of your comfort zone, do you feel that you get to try more things that is actually better? Or is like, I don't even know why I'm trying all these things, that they're so bad?
Yeah, well, it goes both ways, right? So you find brands that you're like, wow, I really enjoy this, and I would have never have tried it unless someone recommended it or sent it to me. And then, you make friends who like Caldwell cigars, and you're like, well, this isn't really my thing, but I'll smoke them because you're sending them to me. And, you suffer through it. You got to smoke what your friends send you, and you might find a gem along the way. But, that's part of the fun, right? Because everyone has a different palate. And, when someone hypes up a cigar that they really like and they give it to you to try, that's what's so much fun is you get to experience other people's favorites. And then it's vice versa. You send them a stick that you're madly in love with, and you're like, this is my favorite cigar of the moment. I love it. I bought a box of it. Here, try one. And then Eric's like, this is not going to make my top 10. This is the bad cigar. And I'm sorry you sent it to me. But that's what's fun about it. And that's why collecting has been like my most fun aspect of the hobby.
Yes, it's very.
I enjoy seeing people smoking a bad cigar.
Yeah, he enjoys.
Why I send Eric. This is the stuff that I send Eric. I will go, like I say, I'm an impulse buyer. I see something, I will just buy it, right? And I'll buy a bunch of those, and I know they're shit, and I'll send it to Eric.
It's like, I don't understand why he make me suffer so much. And like, we friends, we talk every goddamn day, and this dude just decided to just freaking ruin my life or ruin my night with after work or something like that, you know?
No, but then that's the thing. Like, you know, whenever you see a bad thing, you think about Tony. From that point on. Every time you see like a bad cigar, you walk by, you're like,
yep,
I'm gonna skip this cigar because I know Tony's gonna send me this shit.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. Like, when I shop for cigar, I was like, what can I get him that would just mess him up?
At this point, I kind of want to do a shameless plug. Now, Peter has a show with two other people called Cigar Unbanded on YouTube. And I think that relatively came from, you know, getting all kind of different cigar and sharing them. And, you know, it's part of that fun that they start to share each other with cigars that they remove the band and then try to guess what cigar that is through smoking together. And I think that's really fun. And that just makes the cigar hobby even like another layer of fun, right? And that came from sharing, that came from, you know, want to have fun with a fellow smoker that, you know, enjoy cigars, you know, and that makes you want to go out and find a few more things that are different. Like, you know, it's really hard to guess. They look similar, that kind of stuff. So, you know, I want to put it out there because Peter is one of the guys that's in that show, and along with Felipe and Roger, they do that every Thursday. I believe it's 8:30 Eastern time, I want to say.
Yeah, 9 Eastern.
8:30?
Yeah.
9 now? Okay. So it's 9 and it's about 2 hours long. So, you know, people who want to indirectly share the fun of sharing a random cigar with friends. I think that's the best part. Like to give a random cigar to a friend and have them smoke it and see if they know what that is. And you can indirectly get that fun part of it by watching them try to guess what that is. And Felipe is just like dissecting that thing in his head. Like the moment he smokes something, like probably 1/3 of the way through, Felipe will like, is that Nicaraguan tobacco in there? Is that, you know, Opatepe? You know, I think I know what that is. You know, and then, you know, join the fun. You can kind of guess it in the chat room as well. It's pretty cool. So I want to put that out there to let people know that Peter don't just only have a Instagram. They also doing that specific live show for people to enjoy and have fun with. So Peter, when you came out with that idea, well, I don't know who came out with that idea. When you guys decided to do that, what is the catalyst that brought you guys wanting to do that?
So, Roger and Felipe, we've become pretty good friends, and we wanted to do something on a consistent basis that would be fun to do. And I came up with the idea for the unbanded part of it because, you know, everyone has a bias when they smoke a cigar, whether you see the band and you already think you're going to love it, or it's from a blender that you're like, this is the best blender in the world and it's my favorite factory. So for me, it was like, how about we send each other cigars, remove all of that nonsense around it, the branding, the story, the blenders, just slap some numbers on them. You know, we'll let the people watching pick what we're going to smoke that week, and we'll go through the cigar and just say whether we like it or not, you know, call out some tasting notes, whether we think it's an overall good cigar, if it's not a good cigar. And once you have no idea what you are smoking and where it came from and, you know, brands, makes, all that stuff that goes out the window, you're just left with the cigar. So you have to sit through it. You know, you have a conversation. We're talking with all of our friends and talking with the chat and just kind of going through what we're getting. And when we reveal the cigar at the end, it's like, wow, I would have never picked that cigar up at a store. Like I walked by that cigar 100 times in a shop and I would have never picked it up. And I didn't like it, so I'm glad I never picked it up. Or you smoked it and you're like, I got to go get more of these. This was, a really good cigar that I wasn't expecting. So, we're sending stuff from our personal collections, which is fun. We're just going to B&Ms and getting stuff that anyone can get off the shelf usually. So it's a fun way to just experience all these cigars that you otherwise would just not even pick up. And it's been a lot of fun because the chat interacts. People are guessing, just by the vitola size and the color of the shade of the wrapper. And everyone's just kind of like trying to figure out what it is. And it's fun because a lot of times the chat does get it right before we even get to the reveal. But it's just a really good way to kind of scale things back and just get to smoking cigars and figuring out if you like it or not.
Now, with that being said, right, being unbanded, I think that's one of the tough part about having a cigar collection. When the cigar is unbanded, like, there's no way to tell what it is. When you buy those bundles, when you buy a store special or something like that, sometimes they don't have bands on it, and you can't tell what it is. And that, that's the hardest part of having a cigar collection if you don't keep track of what it is. Like, Eric doesn't buy unbanded cigar. I have some unbanded cigar, but I can't tell you what is what. Like I can tell you that if it's a box press, right? By looking at it, I can tell you if whether or not it's a Habano or Connecticut. But I can't tell you what it is. Where I got it from, when I got it from, what blend that is. I can't tell. So when it comes to that, let's ask Martin. Like, do you collect unbanded cigar, and do you tend to buy a bunch of them? Like, how do you figure out what's what?
I mean, I do buy some unbanded cigars, but like I normally, if it's from a cigar brand that I know and that I like, I'll buy them. But I'm not going out and just buying them just because. Like if I see them in the humidor and it's from I've bought in those Caldwell packs that are unbanded, just to try them out. Some of them were good, some were not. But if it's something that they have like a house blend, I'll try it out. Like I'll ask who makes them for them and what factory or whatever, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll try that stuff out.
But do you label them in your humidor? Like, how do you tell what's what in your humidor?
No, I don't label them. I usually smoke them within the first month of buying them. I'll let them rest for a little bit. So you don't actually keep.
It's not. It's actually more of a rotation than part of your collection.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Eric? What happened when you received those unbanded cigar? What to do?
I usually smoke it on the live for like the second cigar, the cigar that I don't give a crap about. Yeah.
Okay.
I use them.
So you don't bother to remember what that is
at all. I don't care what it is. Because after the first cigar, usually second cigar, I give a crap about it because I can't taste nothing anyway.
How about Peter? Do you have any of the unbanded cigar inside your collection? How do you keep track of it?
Not really. Everything I buy usually is banded right now. When I'm searching for things for the show that we're doing, I'll go through and I'll just kind of figure out what I think that no one has smoked yet, or I'll pick a cigar that everyone raves about because I want to see what they're going to say when they don't know what it is. Or, vice versa. If there's a cigar that everyone trashes, and then I was like, well, let's see if we take the band off if people like it. So for me, almost everything in my humidors is banded. I know where it's from, and then I'll sort through and figure out what we're going to use for the show that week. But we send each other cigars. So I have we usually send 5 packs, so 5 different cigars. So I have a pack from Felipe. I have no idea what's in them. And then Roger sent 5 as well. So the only thing you can see is the Vitola size, and you're kind of guessing what you think it might be, because if you see a certain shape, that kind of gives it away. Like Roger definitely sent a Padron because it looks like a Padron, but he's not admitting to it. But that's the fun part, right? You think you're smoking something, who knows? It might be something completely different. But, that's how we operate the show right now. And it's been fun.
It's relatively easy to see a Padron. Yeah, I just look at the front.
Look at the front. Padron is pretty identifiable.
Yeah.
Right. But and I think that's the hardest part is to have all those unbanded cigar. I have unbanded cigar everywhere, and I used to put it like a sticky note on there to just remember what they are, and they fall off, and never just put it back. Like if I have a bunch of them and they fall off, the post-it falls off, I don't know which one to put it back on. There was no way. So eventually, I give up. You know, if I tend to smoke it, I smoke it. You know, if it's a good cigar, well, too bad. I don't know what it is. You know, 'cause there's no way to tell what it is other than the shape and stuff. I just smoke an Amazon Basin. And if that braided band falls off, I would never know what that is.
So one of the things that I used to do was when I did buy that Caldwell stuff, like I would tear just the top part where you can pull the cigar out and keep it in that packaging. So you at least know what it is. They're unbanded, but they're in that little package. So I'd have cigars in there for like, I don't know, 6 months. And I would just grab them every once in a while, just kind of try out and see how they aged. But I wouldn't like completely take them out and then forget what they were.
I will forget what they were. Like, you know, sometimes even with the band on it, I'll be like, what is this band? Like it has no name on it. It just have a
dude.
icon.
Oh my god, when the band don't have no name, I was like, bro, what is this cigar?
Right. And you probably used to remember it too. You're like, I used to know what this is, but I just don't know what that is now. And that's a problem with the collection. So let's talk about storing your collections. Storing your collections, right? You guys already know the way I store my collections everywhere. Like, you know, anywhere that I can find a crevice, including my armpit, I'll put it there. You know, I just don't know where to put it. Then I just find a place to put it. So I start with my floor.
Have you tried your butt crack?
I won't hold.
Oh,
you won't hold. There's too much thing coming out of it. Just
That's a suppository.
So, yeah. So, you know, I have, like, if I turn to my left right now, you'll see a bunch of cigar order boxes that has cigar in there. They just like, you know, it's like United Postal Priority Mail box in there. The cigar I bought from Miami is still in that Davidoff bag.
You didn't move. You didn't do anything to it yet.
I can't find a place for it.
Oh my god.
I know it's Davidoff. It's just sitting there. It's fine. I just don't know where to put them. So, like, I don't have a good way to put my cigars, except a few. Like, right now, I have a place where all the cigar I receive from a friend, it sits in one particular closet, and that closet, the entire shelf is full. You only have 3 shelves. The entire shelf is full now. So I don't know what to do with it. But, you know, I want to talk about you guys, how you store your cigar and what or like, you know, what you put it in and stuff like that. So let's start with Eric. Like, you know, how do you organize your cigar? What do you put it in and stuff?
I used to use Tupperware a lot, but then recently a friend gave me a good price on 2 electric humidor, and I store it in there now. And yeah, thank you, Martine. But yeah, that's how I put my cigar now. I got like 2 big ass electric humidor that I just try to shove everything in there. It's full, but I'm still trying to shove stuff in there. That's how I store it.
You're supposed to keep it like 80% full. Anything more than that, it starts to lose its efficiency.
Oh, really?
So.
Because it's like 90% full.
Yeah, the air doesn't circulate anymore. There's no room for the humidity to travel.
It'll be fine. It will be fine.
Yeah, it will be fine. Peter, how do you store yours? I kind of have an idea how do you store yours because you showed it to us, but let the listener know, like, how do you store yours?
Yeah, so the evolution was, okay, I'm going to get a desktop humidor, right, that can hold 50 sticks, and that's all I'll ever need. I won't need anything else. 50 sticks is the max. I'm good. And then, like, 3 months later, I had 3 electric humidors full to the brim, and I was like, well, I can't keep buying electric humidors. This is going to get a little crazy. So I went to Tupperdoors and Cooladors. I have a pretty good setup. My unfinished part of my basement stays at like 68 degrees all year round. So temperature is really not like an issue for me. So I just have about 4 racks full of there's about 25 Tupperdoors there. And they house a lot of my common sticks. And I'll separate them by brand. So I'll have like a box for Crown Heads, a box for Dumbarton, and they're all stored with Bovedas. And my larger stuff where I keep boxes is I have a few massive coolers, pretty big coolers, and they're getting full quickly now that I'm buying more boxes, because you got to keep the box for some of these. They're really pretty, especially
Yes.
the year ofs, right? So, I'm running out of space because those coolers aren't small. They're pretty big. And, like I said, they're housing all my boxes right now. So it's a nice little setup. I'm lucky I have a pretty temperature controlled area for everything. I just have to worry about humidity, and I do all that with Boveda now.
Okay. I mean, that's one of the things. I mean, Peter and I, we live relatively close to each other, if you want to, in the grand scheme of things. So I think we tend to have a house that is temperature controlled, right? Yeah, because everybody in our area, when wintertime is cold, is really bad. So we tend to have to keep our house really nicely insulated, and the average temperature will be between 68 and 72. And even 72 is kind of hot. So, that's the benefit of it. And the humidity, there is quite a bit of fluctuations for those people who live in the Upper East Side of America. In the wintertime, it's very, very dry. It's like the 20 to 30% range. And during the summertime, you're like, 50% range. Somehow, I don't know why my basement just like to keep in the 60 to 70% range all year around. And the wintertime, I look over like, why is my basement at 70%? Oh, well, So I tend to be able to put everything everywhere, especially in my bathroom. It's great. It's always at 70%. So
you with the bathroom, man.
My laundry room is, sometimes it goes to the 80% range, but I think because the dryer sheet, they stay well. But the dryer sheet actually keeps my cigars taste like dryer sheet. So yeah, like I say, it's not recommended, but I don't have I tried Tupperware. Before you know it, I have a stack of 25 Tupperware.
Yeah.
And
fast.
And I don't know, a lot of listeners probably never see me looking for a cigar. I will look at the entire basement, every single place, just to find one cigar. So I hated the fact that I had to take out every single Tupperware, open up every single one just to find one cigar. So I stopped doing that. The cooler door have this smell. Some people don't smell it. Like my wife says she doesn't smell it when I had it in there, but I can smell it when I open it. And when I smell the cello, it smells like the cooler door, the whole entire cooler. So I stopped using that because it has that smell to it. It actually goes onto the cigars. So I don't know if any other people have that problem, and that's why I stopped using that. So now I just like, if I gotta get a cigar, I just buy the box and then keep it in the box, and then just stack those boxes on top of each other, and put a Boveda pack in there if I needed to. But most of the time, I don't have to do anything with them. If you look at my cases, it's just all boxes. The loose sticks I bought trays, those cedar trays, and I put in the cedar tray and I put in an enclosed cabinet. Does the cabinet 100% proof of air leak and all that? No. But my basement is such my house is in the regulated, humidity and regulated temperature. I don't, even if I leave it open, it'll be fine. So that's how I ended up storing all my cigars. But like I said, I don't have a method to the madness. I don't remember what I have. And I only remember what I smoked last week. And even if that, yeah,
maybe he remembered.
Maybe last week. Yeah. Martin, when you have your collections, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you store your cigars?
So I had two winding doors that I would keep all my cigars in, with the shelving, temperature and humidity controlled. And then even though I still had like temperature control, I would keep Bovedas in there because I would notice that the fluctuation between the floors just was different. Now all I have is just a little desktop humidor, and I keep a couple Boveda in there. I keep some sensors just so that I can regulate the humidity outside from my app. That's kind of all I use now. But going back to what you were saying about the smell, Peter, have you what's the process on getting yours set up? Like, did you clean it out? Did you experience any of that smell? Like, what's the deal with the cooler doors?
Yeah, I've never noticed a smell in my Tupperdoors or cooladors. When I had the electric humidors, those had a smell to them, and I had to rinse them out with baking soda and water, and then let them air dry for a while. And then once you start filling things with cedar, like the shelving, it usually goes away. I keep a lot of cedar in all my Tupperdoors, whether it's pieces of cedar that I've purchased and put in there, or just cedar that I get from boxes, because once you start buying boxes, they all have cedar linings and trays, and you can kind of pull them apart. So every Tupperware has its fair share of cedar in it in one way or another. So I've been lucky, but I definitely rinse everything out, let them air dry, make sure they're good to go before you start throwing your cigars in them.
Talking about baking soda. So when I got the top the cooler, I washed them out and then I put cigar in there. And then a week later, when I opened it up, I smelled that plastic smell. So I took them out and I wiped them down with alcohol. And then I put the cigar back in there after it aired out. And then a week later, I opened up, smells like plastic. So I decided to put those baking soda where you just break apart a cap and then you leave in the fridge. That kind of baking soda stuff, and I put in the cooler. That is the worst decision I've ever made in my life. I've had to throw away all those cigars in there.
Wait. You put that in with the cigar?
Yeah, I put it right in the cooler.
Oh, God.
Thinking that it's going to absorb those plastic smell. And I had to throw away all the cigar in there. Reason being, after I leave it there for a month, I open it up. I don't smell plastic, but now all the cigar tastes like calcium.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had to throw away all the cigar.
Okay.
So I stopped using that. Don't do that. Don't go buy those Arm and Hammer baking soda and put it in your humidor anywhere because that would ruin your cigars.
Oh yeah.
You'll ruin your cigars. Yeah. Not only that, I kind of dries out my cigar too for some reason. That absorbs moisture.
Yes, it does.
That was the worst choice I had. So in terms of the wine doors, I think once you wipe them off, they no longer have that smell. It's only from the factory, I think, that has that smell. Once you wipe them out, they don't have that smell.
Yeah.
So I also tried to put baking soda and cedar trays in the cedar wood in there. And the cedar started to crack for some reason, even though there's enough humidity. So yeah, don't use baking soda. It's a horrible choice. Learn from my mistakes.
I hope you didn't have expensive cigars in there.
Oh my God, dude.
What do I have in there? I have some Romeo y Julietas in there. I have some Olivas in there.
Okay, so they're not bad.
I have a box of DTT in there.
No, you should do that. You should do that all the time.
No, it was San Compromiso. I think that's what it is in there. I have like 2 boxes of Avo in there.
Yeah, you could destroy those all day.
That might have made the Avos taste better, to be honest. Maybe they tasted much better.
It tastes like calcium. Like all you taste is baking soda, right? And I have a box of wasabi in there. I have a box of H. Upmann in there, and a few other loose sticks in the zipper bag. Now the one in zipper bag kind of doesn't have that much smell to it. I think at that point when I opened the zipper bag, it's all menthol. It probably didn't smell like that, but I feel like it smells like that. But at that point, it's like you forgot to throw them away. It's like, it's already to that point. I always gotta remember it. I always gotta have this mental thing that I screwed this up. I might as well just throw them away. So I end up throwing all those away. But yeah, learn from my mistake. Do not do that.
See, everybody was a noob once.
It wasn't that I'm a noob about it. It's just that for science, you think you'll work. But it doesn't. Another thing is don't put vinegar on there. I know people wipe their humidors and stuff like that with vinegar. Vinegar will have that sourness until you let it air out. It has to dry and air out before you put the cigar in there. Some people's like, vinegar and water, let's just go at it, wipe it down and put the tray. No, you do that, the next day you have some stinky tofu and mold going on. It's not a good thing. So yeah, learn from my mistakes. Never do that. Never do that. Okay. From this point, let's use the last few minutes of the show. Let's talk about advices. Right, we all have a different level of storing cigars and starting collection and all that stuff. So let's talk about what is the best advice you can give and kind of give an explanation of why you want to give that advice to people who want to start a collection or already have a collection where they should change. What should they change in? And, your little DIY trickery to keep this madness into something more manageable. So let's start with Peter, who is probably the most organized out of all of us.
Yes.
Yeah, I like to keep all my Tupperwares organized. Like I said, I know what's in them. I don't have a list, but I know what's in them. But my advice would be, if you're new to the collecting aspect of the hobby, is don't feel like you have to rush out and get every box that hits the market. Understand you're going to miss releases. It's going to happen. No one's got unlimited money. Don't feel bad. Don't get FOMO if you can't find a box that people are talking about. You know, form relationships with people, trade. You'll get your hands on something if you can, meet the right people and make the right friends. But buy boxes that you enjoy. They don't have to be LEs. They don't have to be yearly releases. You know, smoke the normal stuff first. Find what you enjoy and start small. A box is nice, but so is a 5-pack. You don't need 20 cigars of a brand when you're starting out. Just get a few sticks and then find something else that you really enjoy. I got caught up in always thinking I got to buy every LE from my favorite brands, because once it's gone, it's gone. And that mentality it'll hurt you in the end, because there's so much coming out constantly that there's no reason to worry about. So have fun with it, collect what you enjoy, and really make friends in the community, because like I said, if there's stuff you can't find, someone probably has it already, and maybe you have something that they enjoy. So getting those friendships will go a long way in your journey, and it just makes it more enjoyable.
Okay. So I think the moral of the Peter's story is that find a couple Asian friends who cannot stop themselves from buying LEs.
Yes. That was
just buy normal stuff and just buy your normal stuff and just stare at the Asian friends go crazy. And they go like, I want to buy every single year of the dragon and watch them die. Watch them get out and get a mortgage just so that they can all of a sudden, when they say they want something, and every company start to make it. Yeah, I think that's the moral of the story. All right, Martin, go ahead.
All right. For me, one of the biggest things that I found was space. So if you're starting out with your first humidor, go bigger than you think you need, because you're always going to have or want to buy more, and it's going to be to where you don't have any space. So if you're thinking about getting a 50 count humidor, go for 100. Just kind of double up, and you'll have the extra space. Even if you're not using it all, you'll have the extra space for when you need it. So you're giving yourself room to grow. I started off with buying a bunch of singles, and it took me about a good 2 years before I bought my first box. So just experiencing singles, 2-packs, 5-packs, and just filling up the humidor with stuff that I liked or wanted to smoke. That was my main thing. So go with the bigger size humidor than you think you need, because it's better to have more space than not enough.
Okay. I think I want to add to that, because that's what I think I want to add to that. And that's something that I am slightly different than Martin. Is that I'm going to recommend people not to buy any humidor until you have at least 500 cigars. Don't buy any humidor. You got to think 500 cigars a lot, but once you start collecting 500 cigars, it'll get there very quickly. Within a week, you have 100 cigars if you try, right? You buy bundles, you buy this and that, you have that. Keep your cigar collection until you have 500 cigars, and go buy a cigar humidor that will hold at least 1,000. Because I think that's the breaking point, right? Where you're going to stay around the same way you feel like 500 cigars enough. Because if you keep them in rotation, if you smoke 1 cigar a day, you smoke 365 cigars. So if you keep in rotation, you'll be under 500 somewhere. And at that point, having 1,000 cigar count humidor, you'll be just about the right amount in that humidor, 50% filled. Right, and when they say 1,000, it's not really 1,000. It's sometimes you have a lot of big cigars, they don't fill 1,000. So having 500 cigar in 1,000 count humidor, it will be a perfect fit, and you'll realize you save hundreds and hundreds of dollars for not buying those humidors, because if you buy 101, and you got to buy another 100. You got to buy that 5 times, and when you finally buy that 1,000 count, you just lost that 5 humidor that you don't really need. you really don't need it. Like I have them everywhere. Everywhere.
I would suggest to do what Peter does with the Tubador. Buy a big old Tubador. It's huge. It's on Amazon, right? Shove it in there. Put a Bovita, call it a day.
Yeah, basically, before you get that many, don't even think about humidor. Yeah. There's no point. You'll be rotating through your cigar quicker than your collection, because having a 500 count of cigar in a collection is quite a bit for most people. It's a lot. Just think about you had to buy 500 cigars a year. Let's say it's $20 cigar for the sake of easy. That's $1,000, right? So
yeah,
right. So you'll be adding up quickly. Is it 2, 5?
It can't be 1,000. It gotta be more.
No, 10,000. 10,000. 500, 20, 10. So it's $10,000. $10,000.
Yeah.
$10,000, $20 cigar.
$20 cigar.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Most people isn't gonna spend that kind of money.
Hobby, guys.
$1,000. If I buy that many cigars, $1,000. $10,000. Sorry about that. $10,000. That's a lot of money for most people to spend on cigars. Average American earns between $35,000 to $50,000 a year. Spend $10,000 on cigars. That's a lot of money. So I don't think that anybody's gonna go over that amount.
I quit this hobby, man.
On the standard, rotation of cigars. So, keep in mind, you're gonna reach 500 if you tend to smoke one cigar a day, and then you buy more than that a week. So that's a good amount to start. That's a good amount to gauge for. Now, if you ended up going to 1,000 cigar, like if you went from 500 to 1,000, now you need to start to think of to get one of those big cabinets to be part of your furniture in that home.
Yep.
Maybe just sacrifice your baby room. Make it that entire room as a humidor at that point. Because if you have 1,000 cigars, you spend quite too much money on cigars, and that's when you gotta start thinking like, hey, maybe you need to get a mortgage, buy a new house, and store your cigars. That's it. Okay, but 500 should be the right amount. So, Eric, what's your suggestion?
My suggestion is like what Peter does in the beginning. Don't overspend. Just grab what you can smoke. Enjoy the hobby. Once you get a little bit of collection, just grab a Tubador, man. Just literally grab a Tubador, and you'll be fine. And for that long period of time, because if you start out collection, you don't want to spend like a ton of money unless you really want to do it, unless, and if you do buy like expensive stick, you probably have like 20 expensive stick right off the bat, right? It's still not that much to store, to be honest, right? You can still toss that in the bag or something like that, even though they're like $300 stick and you got 20 of them, you ain't gonna fill nothing up. So, and that would save you money to buy the more expensive cigar that you want as well. That's how I would do it. That's how I kind of did it too, to tell the truth.
And I also want to mention that keep in mind, 1 out of 10, I think that's the right amount. Roughly 1 out of 10 people fall out of the hobby. So when you have too much cigars, when you fall out of the hobby, you can't really get rid of it. It's not that easy. You can't just go to a community that says, I want to offload all my cigars. It's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah.
So if you're going to start a collection, make sure that's something that you want to keep up with. You want to maintenance it, because you got to make sure that your collection is in good shape, right? It's an investment. So before you start collecting, I'm not saying don't, but think about it. Is this hobby really for you? Are you going to be able to smoke through all these if you decide to quit? If you have 500 cigars, you decide to quit, give yourself a year, you'll be done with those cigars, right? So I would say don't go overboard. Like for me, I had to write in my will that if I die, I give all my cigars to the military. Like, because I know I have way too much cigars. I'm not gonna dump it on my wife and say, hey, when I passed away, make sure to sell these things. They all money. No, just donate all these.
No, just bring it to the grave, bro. Bring it to the grave.
Yeah, make sure to burn my body on top of those cigars. But it's one of those things that you had to really think about. Is that investment for you? Because in the end, it's all money. So your hard-earned money, and if you quit, you decide not to enjoy them anymore. That's something you'll never get back. A hobby is that every hobby costs money. Okay, every hobby is extended amount of money that you're committing to it. So make sure that when you thinking about those, this is why I said don't buy humidor too early, because you might find out it's not for you like a year in or 2 year in. You're like, that's too much upkeep. I don't have that. You have a newborn child right away. That cigar is going to the back burner. You're not buying cigars, right? You have to move. You have to do all that. All that cigar is the last thing you think about, right? You don't, and if cigar is very easy to quit because you don't get addicted to it. If something comes up, I don't have time for cigar today. It's not coming in today. Yeah. Nope. Right. And I've seen some people that got sick, from various things, right? Injury or whatever, and they just don't smoke cigar for like extended period of time. And at that point, they just don't find a reason to get back to, because they don't have the time, they don't want to take the effort, whatever that is. So, when you think about to collect a collection, really think about whether or not you want to start a collection. If you just want to enjoy a cigar, you can at any time go to a cigar shop, grab a cigar.
Yeah, you basically
just like Peter said, you don't always have to get LEs. You don't have to smoke LE. You know why? Because if you never smoked it, you're not losing anything for not ever tasting it. Yep. You don't know what you're missing.
Yep.
Right? And not all the LE are good. Some LEs are really, really bad. Right? So if you think about that, you're not missing much, not getting the LEs, especially if you're not getting the box. There's nothing to collect. There's nothing you're missing. And whatever the blend that you're missing today, you might find it in other cigar tomorrow.
When I first started out, my girl was like, why are you buying these cigars at the store? You have a place that literally free to store it for you, and you just go grab it whenever you want. They call it the bean or a lounge. And she was like, I was like, I get so tired of just going there every day, okay? And yeah,
I can buy the cigar with the money I use on gas. I can buy a lot of cigar with the money that I save for not having to charge my electric car.
I don't have an electric car, asshole.
Right. If you put that in our perspective, collecting something is great. It's part of this hobby. Sharing is definitely a big part of this hobby. I don't think people do it enough. A lot of people are missing that part of this hobby, which is sharing, which is social, right? Cigar is social.
It's very social.
I think that's fair to say. And social is part of sharing. Like, if you're in an alcohol, like, whiskey collection, your favorite part is probably not only tasting it, but sharing that taste with someone else. And say, hey, have you tried this bottle? Get a sip. Here's one finger of it. Just have a shit and let me know what you like it. It's getting other people's opinion on that is the best part of it. That's why we watch review, right? We want to see what other people think about certain cigars and what their reaction is when they smoke a bad one.
Even though they're not number one, you have to smoke it and you have to see what's good.
Yeah. Right. And that's part of the hobby. And I know it's investment. I know it's money, but that's what hobby is. You put money into something you like to do to gain happiness out of it. And the best part of happiness is actually giving, not receiving.
Yep.
Receiving, yeah, you're happy, but giving is happier.
Giving feel good, man. Like, the expression when they open your package, it's like, oh, God, what the hell are these?
For those people who want us to get the best reaction, send it to Roger, because he's expert at unboxing now. Expert. So if you want to get a reaction, you send it to Roger. Okay, so that will be it for this particular episode. I hope somebody who's listening actually learn something or take some of these suggestions. Like, for example, don't use baking soda, that kind of stuff. Don't put it in your laundry room, that kind of stuff. And maybe someone that didn't start a collection might start a collection from this point. And congratulations if you decide to do that. And maybe somebody say, you know what, I was gonna start a collection after I think about $10,000. I'm not gonna do this anymore. That will be fine too. Make the best choice for yourself, and hopefully you'll be happy with that decision, right? Okay, so that will be it for this particular episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
Peace.
You've been listening to the In the Shadows podcast. There's nothing like a fine cigar, and that's our passion. And on the show, we'll talk about everything and anything cigars. And you know what happens when you get a bunch of guys together smoking cigars. The conversations go on. And that is what this show is all about. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. Remember, everything you need is on YouTube at Soy Sauce Assassin. The live show is every Wednesday and Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And get cigar reviews. Wishing you long ashes. We'll see you next time on In the Shadows Podcast.